taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in the deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. Kiriji War, also known as Ekiti-Parapa War, was waged among Yoruba main ethnic groups which emerged from the ruins of the falling Oyo Empire that were desperate to replace the awesome powers hitherto wielded by the Alaafin of Oyo. The Kiriji War is defined as a conflict of confederacy and unitary political system championed by Yorubas of different socio-economic and political interests. The Ibadan military aristocrats felt they deserved a dominant position for saving Yoruba land from being totally submerged by the Fulanis by their victory in Osogbo War of 1840 and Ijaye War of 1862. Kiriji War, that took its name from the booming motor sounds of European arms, festered for so long because the Industrial Revolution in Europe provoked high standards of slaves. The 16-year Civil War also caused the emergence of new powerful kingdoms like Ibadan and the rise of powerful personalities like Oluyole, Ogunmola, Kun. Western Spring Television, ours it is.
All right, so warm welcome to whoever you're watching this morning. Welcome to the show. It is Sports Spring on Western Spring Television, where we give you stories making headlines in the ever-busy world of sports. My name is Joseph. ATEWEH, good morning. And
I am NENGI ERNEST-ADEMOLA. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. A whole lot definitely on our bucket list for us to tick as it concerns information making the headlines in the world of sports, and definitely we'll be giving you that bit by bit for the first and the second half of the show. Do not forget that the US Open is currently ongoing. The likes of Casper Ruud, of course, are out of the US Open, while Karolina Wozniacki, Coco Gauff, and a whole lot of them have passed on to the next round of the US Open. All of this and more is what we'll dish out to you this morning in terms of information making the rounds in the world of sports. Welcome on board once again.
All right, we start from the local scene, but then from the continent. CAF has unveiled the 2026 calendar for qualifiers.
Absolutely. Now let's get into details as it concerns that. Now, with 3 years to the 2026 FIFA World Cup that will be co-hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the United States, the African soccer ruling body has unveiled its calendar for the continent qualifiers as it's been displayed on your screen right now. Now, the group draw for the tournament qualifiers was held earlier in the year with 52 African teams placing in 9 groups. The Confederation of African Football, that's CAF, published a program for this campaign on Tuesday. Now, match day 1 and 2 will be played between November 7th and 21st, 2023. Meanwhile, match day 3 and 4 will take place in June 2024. Day 5 and 6 will take place in March 2025. Match day 7 and 8 will take place in September 2025, not leaving out match day 9 and 10, which will take place in October 2025. Now, Africa will have 9 direct qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup. Indeed, the first of the 9 qualifying groups will go directly to the tournament in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, while the 10th representative could also qualify via the playoffs. And the top 4 second-place teams definitely will also do the playoffs, and the winners will go through to the playoffs round. That is how it stands. Of course, that's the picture being displayed on your screen. For the host, you can see it clearly written there. Canada, United States, and Mexico. Those are the hosts for the 2026 edition of the FIFA World Cup. 48 teams altogether, and of course, you can see the format being spelled out there, and we've given you how it will look like for all of the match days from day 1 to 10 as it concerns the qualifiers of the 2026 World Cup.
And of course, on your screen here from the format, Africa will have 8 slots, Asia rather 8 slots, Africa 9, while North America will be having 6 or 8 there, but we know that Oceania has just 1 slot. Absolutely.
And I think it's going to get better by the day, just like that of Africa. I mean, due to the performance, a very phenomenal performance of Morocco from the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Of course, it did fire up the addition when it comes to African teams. So definitely we wish all the best to each and everyone who would play for the qualifiers and actually go through the playoffs. Now, more update as it concerns that, Joseph. Now, we understand the fact that ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier that will start in November, just like was spelled out just now, the Rwanda Football Federation has appointed Gerard Boucher as the new head coach of Amavubi. Now, for the Mundial qualifier, Rwanda are placed in the same group as Nigeria, South Africa, Benin, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe. Boucher, who currently serves as FEWAFA Technical Director since his appointment on September 15, 2022, will be assisted by Amavubi legend Jimmy Mulisa and Innocent Seninga, who has been without a club since he was relieved of his duties as Sunrise FC head coach since the end of the 2022 and 2023 season. Boucher's appointment as national team coach comes after the departure of outgoing coach Carlos Alos Ferra, who left the position in July to coach the Belarusian national team. And considering the short time available for preparations, the FA's executive committee decided to assign the 3 men to take charge of the team. So Rwanda falls in the same group where we have Nigeria, South Africa, Benin, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe. And of course, everyone is tipping Nigeria to go through this group. Probably teams would want to pose a problem for Nigeria should be South Africa and Benin Republic. Remember that Benin Republic is now headed by, what's his name now, Kenneth Raw. But definitely wish them all the best. But then, Joseph, more updates coming in from Nigeria as it pertains to NFF and Jose Peseiro.
This story in front of me says Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has given a 3-day ultimatum to Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro to accept a pay cut or be replaced. The chairman NFF Technical Committee, Sheriff Rabiu, made this known to reporters on Tuesday in an exclusive interview after the inauguration on Tuesday by the NFF. The technical committee has given him, Peseiro, 3 days to respond to a proposed pay cut or will disengage him finally, will allow him to continue if he accepts reduction in his $70,000 monthly salary and other conditions of service. In what told reporters, if he turns down a proposal, will consider appointing a coach to oversee the dead rubber game against Sao Tome and Principe in Uyo. Then we start to search for a new substantive coach that the NFF can afford to pay his salary, the technical committee chairman stated. Now, Peseiro's contract elapsed on the 31st of July, but he agreed to continue the job and lead the Super Eagles to the 2023 AFCON that will hold in Cote d'Ivoire in January after qualifying the team with a match to spare. Now, following the inability of the NFF to meet the burden of paying his huge monthly salary, the Federation offered a new contract to renew his contract with a pay cut. So far, Peseiro has refused to accept a pay cut since he loves to continue coaching the Super Eagles. We also know that the NFF, who owes him about 12 months' salary, has now told him to accept the pay cut or bid farewell to the national team.
At this point in time, I believe that this might not even want to work out between Peseiro and the NFF, not leaving out the Super Eagles, but would follow the story closely, because I tell you for sure, this is one developing story we'd like to keep tabs on. And if we get further updates, of course, we'd let you know as it pertains to NFF, Jose Peseiro and the Super Eagles. But do not forget, recall yesterday we brought you news concerning the technical committee that was inaugurated by the NFF president, that's Ibrahim Musa Gusau, talking about the fact that that technical committee will be in charge of at least scouting out people who might probably take up the spaces in the Super Eagles and, of course, the Super Falcons. But here we have it. The NFF is telling Jose Peseiro to accept pay cut or leave the job. We'll see how things pans out to be for them. And aside from that, Joseph, let's get into the world of unlimited sports. But before we get in there, let's still talk about the NFF and what is going on currently with the NFF and the Super Falcons as it concerns match bonuses. Now, this is reported according to The Guardian. The Nigerian Football Federation has revealed that they are yet to receive monies meant for Super Falcons players from World Football Governing Body, that's FIFA. Now, each member of the Super Falcons playing staff are entitled to $60,000 for qualifying for the second round of the just concluded Women's World Cup, hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Spain defeated England by a lone goal to win the competition, which ended on August 20th in Sydney. And speaking on the Super Falcons entitlements from the 2023 Women's World Cup, NFF's Director Media, Ademola Olajire, said the federation settled all the players' entitlements before the World Cup, adding that once the money from FIFA comes, the players will be paid accordingly. And just to add, Bayana players are yet to also receive payment from FIFA, according to the South African Football Association. The South African women's national team wrote their name in the history books after they became the first ever senior national football team, men or women, to make it out of the group stages of a FIFA tournament. And like the Super Falcons, South Africa's Bayana will also reach the round of 16 at the Women's World Cup, is also waiting on FIFA for their money. So this is just quite an update coming from the angle of the NFF and, of course, the NFF's media director in this one. So definitely would give you news if at all the FIFA has, of course, has sent the money for the payment of the match bonuses. And
away from football, the General Development Manager of the International Cricket Council, Williams Genvite, has revealed the reasons they chose Nigeria for the trophy tour. The ICC trophy arrived in Lagos on Tuesday, as earlier reported, and moved to Abuja on Wednesday as the trophy parade continues. While speaking to reporters, the manager made it clear that the growth of the game in Nigeria impressed them and they were eager to come to Nigeria and learn. Nigeria is our fastest growing member around the world. We came to learn from the NCF to better understand what they are doing successfully and apply it elsewhere around the world so that other members can be equally successful as Nigeria. It's also for us to better understand the ways the International Federation can support Nigeria in its growth. End of quote. They have great plans and we have a role to play, he further stated. And that's it when it comes to cricket. And that's the trophy displayed on your screen.
And of course, you talk about the trophy and of course other sports in Nigeria. Definitely Nigeria has been known for other sports, and that is why we have to talk other sports also. Now, still talking about other sports, we'll talk about volleyball this time around. Now, the Nigerian men and women beach volleyball teams have picked tickets to participate in the Beach Volleyball World Championship in Thailand later this year. Nigeria women's team settled for a silver medal at the just concluded 2023 on the 21 Beach Volleyball Championship in Morocco on Wednesday. And hosts Morocco beat Nigeria 2-1, 13-21, 21-15, and 18-16 in a highly intense match at the beach resort in Casablanca. Nigeria started the first set on a bright note, beating the host 21-13 points in less than 20 minutes of play, while the host Morocco mobilized fans who were instrumental to their victory in the second set. And in the third set, Morocco led Nigeria till the 14th point after Nigeria got 2 crucial points to tie at 14 points. Nigeria led by 16-15 points before Morocco picked 3 points to emerge the champions of the women's category. Now, Nigeria head coach for the tournament, John Iwerima, showered encomium on his players despite their inability to lift the title. And he said the girls still have the opportunity of ruling the world if the pair is retained. And of course, if you saw that game, of course, you would know how far the chemistry goes between this women team. Now, meanwhile, Nigeria's men beach volleyball team finished 5th position at the just concluded 2023 under 21 Beach Volleyball Championship. But both teams have now qualified for the 2023 under 21 World Beach Volleyball Championship in Thailand next November. So coming up fresh from such a wonderful performance that they've had for the under 21 championship, I believe that they will be able to do better in terms of coming up in November. And of course, everyone is trying to put their house in order in order to prepare very well.
Just before we go on a break, this is coming in from Tonobo Kokoa, and is the president of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria. He has ruled Nigeria's barren outing at the World Championship in Budapest, Hungary. The Nigerians were expectant after the successful outing of the team at the 2021 Championship in Oregon, the United States. But in Budapest, the cookies crumbled for Team Nigeria, and Okoa said it was down to lack of adequate preparation due to lack of funds. He said, and I quote, "We weren't prepared for Budapest. That's the truth." The EFN boss said there was no fund to camp or monitor these players. End of quote. And that is what Okowa stated as the president of Athletics Federation of Nigeria, saying there was no enough fund and there wasn't time to prepare for the competition. That was why their cookies crumbled right there in Budapest.
Well, the likes of Ese Brome, the likes of, what's her name now, Tobiloba Musa, has talked about the fact that they will come back stronger in terms of the Paris Olympics qualifiers for 2024. So therefore, we wish them all the best. And we do hope that we'll gather medals from the Paris Olympics in 2024. That's all for the first half of the show, Joseph. And of course, the Carabao Cup round, the second round, more matches were played yesterday. And the draws also took place yesterday for the third round of the Carabao Cup. That's the EFL Cup. So we'll go ahead and see some highlights from some of these games played yesterday. And aside from that, let's also inform you that the UEFA Champions League qualifiers is up and running. PSV Eindhoven definitely dismantled Rangers, who were not ready. And of course, PSV is true to the qualifiers in the UEFA Champions League. So all of these highlights is what we'll display to you once again. Do stick with us. We'll be right back.